Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault games. We have the new guard versus the old guard here, Renin 6 Delver versus the format standby Blue-Red Delver. This is a deck that many people have played on their way through Legacy. Very accessible. It actually can be ported over from Burn pretty easily, and that's exactly what Tony has done, starting out back in the format, playing Burn, and then winning, doing well, getting Trops, Volcanics, Fetch Lands, and now here he is turning a Delver sideways on turn 2, taking 3 points of life away from Kyle. In a race he has struck first. We'll see who can get their Delvers to stick around. The Renin 6 deck has a much higher quality of individual cards, though we'll see about how the synergy in Blue-Red Delver plays off. Cards like Dreadhorde, Arcanist, obviously garbage without support cards, just a 1/3, but man, when you start getting double time on your Lightning Bolts and Brainstorms, he gets out of hand real fast. Kyle with no threat on board here, having cleared it with Lightning Bolt. Tony now has the board uncontested. He sends for 3, and Kyle fetches and Lightning Bolt. We've got a force and a force back. Delver does go to the bin. And now a Ponder. So this game now a bit of a train wreck. We had 2 Delvers on board poised to be a little bit of a race, and instead we're going draw go. We'll wasteland that Volcanic Island. Kyle with blue, red, and black mana. The Renin 6 decks here actually going into the 4th color for green for both Renin 6 and now Tarmogoyf, a card that could be a big problem for Tony. Goyf gets much better along the line of a control deck as those instant sorceries, lands, and creatures go into the graveyards. You start out with a basis of a 4/5. Planeswalkers add to that. Not likely to see enchantments here, but Goyf likely to be a 4 or 5 power creature. Well out of range of Lightning Bolt. Tony Brainstorm and Fetch Land. And there's a Renin 6. Now this threatens to potentially start to outdraw Tony 2-1, getting back Fetch Lands or Wastelands as needed. Notably building Kyle's mana base or just getting cards into hand to Brainstorm away. The card's often compared to Crucible Worlds, but the fact that you can actually get those lands into your hand and potentially convert a Brainstorm into an honest-to-goodness Ancestral over a few turns is not to be dismissed. That's something Tony's not going to allow to happen. He Force-of-Wills it. And now Wastelands. And now here's a Goyf. He has a big old butt. That's going to be a real problem to remove. Going to need to commit like 2 burn spells to it, which just makes that a huge linchpin. That second burn card, if it's countered, you are just so dead. Very bad spot to be in. Getting 2 for 1 is terrible. Getting 2 for 1 where it doesn't even matter is so much worse, where you don't actually achieve your objective. And 5 damage coming in. Just a couple of turns. Oh, and another Goyf. This one gets spell snared. That threatened to just close things out almost immediately. Now Delver of Secrets. Not chump blocking. Doesn't flip. Doesn't swing. And still doesn't block. I think Tony's pretty much just given it up at this point. Doesn't make sense to not have swung and not block there. If you're not going to commit to blocking, then you might as well just turn it sideways. And now a Ponder at 1 life with 2 creatures on board. This is pretty much over. He might be able to delay the inevitable with like a burn spell on this Delver. But at 15 life, you'd need something along the lines of a double Price of Progress with no response from Kyle. Now we're during the upkeep. Wasteland getting rid of the green source. And a lightning bolt on the Delver. So Tony buying himself an extra turn. At best, Brainstorm. Can Kyle find any type of burn? Not entirely necessary. He's got plenty of life. And now fetching. Oh, and Renin 6. Well, that's one way to do the final point of damage. So, Renin 6 Delver living up to its name there, dealing the fatal final point with the Planeswalker itself. So, game 1, Renin 6 Delver looking pretty strong there. Tarmogoyf very, very solid in this matchup. A really potent threat that has to be answered. In the past, Tarmogoyf has towered over other creatures and really been a nightmare for people trying to play an honest game of Magic where they're casting creatures and attacking and blocking. Goyf just so efficient that it's very easy for him to crowd out all of the other creature decks. That has been the case many times in Magic's history. Now that green is in vogue again thanks to Renin 6. We'll see just how good Tarmogoyf can become. That card was virtually at an all-time low in terms of value prior to the printing of Renin 6. Now, Future Sight Goyf's approaching the $100 mark. That's really pretty remarkable. The reprint's not commanding quite the same type of premium, but still, that card has had a complete reversal in terms of the direction of its pricing thanks to Renin 6. Delver decks now 4 colors, and that also gives you a lot of sideboard considerations as well. Another exciting new green card, the Veil of Summer card that certainly seeing play in some combo decks, storm decks, essentially countering a Thoughtseize or Duress and drawing a card, also able to completely stop Tendrils of Agony. I believe that's going to be a format staple for a long time moving forward. Probably the most exciting card in Core Set 2020. I'd have to think about that. And honestly, Core Set 2020 is not something I really enjoy thinking about. That set has been, it's been a core set. I think expectations may have been a little too high from the marketing machine at Wizards of the Coast. Its core sets are a nice starting point for a lot of players. They can be a nice first pre-release, but for the most part, players want the more complex, deeper interactions when they're going to be putting down their money each week for drafts or sealed deck. And we see Tony going through, eyeballing some usual suspects in the Delver Mirror, Force of Will a consideration. It's such a grindy matchup. I don't really know what's correct anymore in this type of matchup, given how powerful the individual cards are that Pile may be throwing at him. A card like Tarmogoyf or Renin 6, if you're not going to be able to clear it off the board, you may need to stop it from coming down in the first place. Now, Spell Snare can do a lot of that work, but Goyf may end up being just the most important card on Kyle's side of the table. Price of Progress, a card that seems like it could be very good versus this type of greedy 4-color mana base, but in the hands of a skilled player, it can be very easy to play around Price of Progress, wastelanding your own lands in response to the Price of Progress severely cuts down on the damage. And then Daze, does pick up an island as well, so I've seen situations where it could potentially be a lethal double price of progress, and the opponent drops a wasteland for turn and just completely eliminates that entire line as a possibility. Wastelanding your own land, dazing, you're taking 6 points of burn out of the equation. 2 price of progresses, that's like a 12-point life swing just from a land drop. And Renin 6 certainly has more access to whatever lands it needs than previous Delver builds, so let's see which cards end up being important for both players here. Ponder for Pile. Tony now at the basic island into a Ponder himself. Says it's good enough, but it's no Delver. Perhaps some permission? I feel like both players do need to set a clock. And now Thoughtseize. And that's going to show Daze, Spell Snare, Prismatic Vista, Lightning Bolt. Spell Snare getting cleared out by this Thoughtseize. And a couple of Dazes and a Bolt left in hand. Daze, one of the easiest counters to play through. Really just need to make an extra land drop, slow it down just a little bit. Remember back in the day having severely trounced some local players with a deck running Daze and Gush, Super Grow back in the day. A frustrated opponent came in the next week very excited that he had come up with the answer to Daze, and he was playing a playset of Pyroblasts in his sideboard to counter the Dazes. So I do not recommend that strategy. For those that don't get the joke, you can just pay the 1 mana instead of paying the 1 red to Pyroblast it. He was very proud of himself until I explained it to him. Ponder. And we are just in story time here as these guys just go back and forth with no threats. Can he finally commit to one? Yes. Delver of Secrets for Tony. It is not a very resilient threat. Can it survive a turn without getting shot down by an incoming Renin 6? That's the real question. There he is. Double Daze. It's not going to be able to stop that. Hydroblast potentially will, and it does. So this Delver has a chance. He's got a chance to make it. Will he flip? Kyle not done. He does know about these 2 Dazes. Oh, an Abrupt Decay. That is an unfortunate card. And now following up with True Name Nemesis, which is met with a Tarmogoyf. And we have a match of Magic right here, ladies and gentlemen. True Name facing down Tarmogoyf. Both of them very real threats. These guys can stare at each other all day. Hopefully that is not quite how it goes. Another Goyf. 2 islands available to start paying for these Dazes. Nope. And a pass back, and from here we may see creatures turning sideways. Plague Engineer. Oof, absolutely brutal. So it looked like there was going to be a little bit of swing with 2, block 1, slow bleed out of life, maybe have a chance to get back into this. Instead, Plague Engineer absolutely murdering the 1 toughness True Name Nemesis, naming Merfolk, and also meeting his end to the Lightning Bolt from Tony, but the damage may just be done. He's facing down lethal damage during this draw step. He's got to come up with some type of plan that can stave off this incoming 10 damage. And now another Renin 6, and this is absolutely brutal. Pinging Delver, and Kyle just showing, I've got additional counter spells and Red Blast. This is just not a close match of Magic. And it looks like this previous blue-red Delver build may need to make some sideboard adjustments to contend with this new threat of Wrenn and 6 Delver. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.